What up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome back to another episode of GSG Nation. And what a hell of a week and a half it has been being a Spurs fan. That is for sure. Going from a 3-game win streak, which we haven't seen all season. So just crazy celebrations throughout the whole week, to now going back to a 2-game losing streak, which is something we are all too familiar with. But, roller coaster ride being a Spurs fan this week and a half. I would say the back-to-back-to-back wins was definitely worth it, and it was great, a great feeling to have that winning feel again. We were in attendance for the Warriors game on Easter, and the atmosphere was incredible. Again, far too many Warriors fans in attendance, so they definitely had a huge turnout for from their fan base, but also too huge fan base came out for the Spurs on Easter, and just the whole game was great atmosphere. Hadn't really felt that feeling from them in a while, and I think the last game that I did get that sense of energy from the crowd from was the game against Oklahoma City, which we won at home. So that was just really fun game to be in attendance for. Unfortunately, we did not come out with the W, but we'll go over that and the other games in today's episode, and we'll also hear from a word from our young fan base that was in attendance for the Warriors game as well. So let's go ahead and get into today's episode. Okay, let's get started with the win against the Phoenix Suns. Spurs 104, Phoenix 102. First, let's start off with the obvious player of the game, Jeremy Sochan, Mr. Game Winner. Big three-point shot, nothing but the bottom of the net. Man, did any of us expect that? No. I don't think any of us expected. Well, maybe in the beginning of the year we did expect to witness a Jeremy Sochan game winner, but I know those hopes went out the window, as we're far into the season. So what a great surprise. So happy for the guy. Once again, just showing his potential and his place on this team. For sure, he's absolutely got a future with us. I think he absolutely will be a big part of this team going forward. Ending the night with 26 points and 18 rebounds. Just incredible. We are all so happy to see it. So great job, Jeremy Sochan. Thanks again for just hitting that huge game-winning shot. And, hopefully we get to witness more of those going forward in the future. Another standout, of course, Devin Vassell with 26 points. Also just, really carrying us in the third quarter, keeping us in it. And, bouncing back from a terrible night Saturday night against the exact same team. It was great to see him have a bounce back game. We definitely need him to be consistent, and these are the types of numbers that we need from him to win games, especially big games like this. So great job, man. Let's move on and get to the next one. Keldon Johnson ending the night with 14 points as well, 5 for 9 from the field. One thing I want to highlight, the main thing I want to highlight with Keldon Johnson is that he went 2 for 2 for 3-pointers, but those were big 3-pointers that he made. Huge 3-pointers that kept us in momentum and really just motivated us to play better defense as well, to be honest with you, because once he made those shots, the crowd was in it, so the players were feeding off of the crowd for sure. And, if he had missed those shots and we did not get the rebound or a point off of those possessions, the game definitely could have ended up in a different way. It would have stopped us from going on our run, from staying in rhythm, staying hot. So those were really 2 huge 3-pointers that he made. Man, was the crowd in it. So, God, it was really awesome to witness and just feel that energy again. we really needed this as fans, and the players needed this as well, to be honest. Like, they needed this confidence boost, and we're just all happy with the outcome. And the guys just really played great. They didn't show any fear coming into the game. They could have walked in with their heads down, knowing, we just got our butts whooped the other day by the same team. Why is tonight going to be different? But no, they came in, took care of business, kept their heads held up high, showed some heart, showed some pride, and just never backed down from the situation. Great job from the whole team. We played with control most of the game, and we were just able to get the stops and points just in crunch time in the fourth quarter. We played really good defense against a Phoenix Suns team that has 3 All-Stars on their team, holding them to only 102 points. That is just incredible. So it was incredible team defense. It's not like they were missing too many shots. Now, I do see that they shot only 35% from the 3-point line. They weren't getting open looks because, those guys aren't shooting 35% with open looks. So they weren't getting open looks. We were playing really good defense, and that's what contributed to the low 3-point shooting percentage for the Phoenix Suns. They shot 50% from the field, and so they beat us in both of those categories, the field goal percentage and the 3-point percentage. We should be losing games. We normally lose games when we're shooting lower percentage than the other team, but great defense. And, we got big stops, and we were able to just keep our momentum and stay on our run. One thing I will say that worried me towards the end of the game was just that one possession that we all saw, Devin Vassell, that 3-point shot, like, just, it was forced from top of the key, just contested, terrible look. We can't be running that type of play. It just wasn't a good look at all. We gotta, especially when Phoenix is in foul trouble, we gotta be looking to set a hard pick and drive hard to the basket, because those guys will be too afraid to foul and send us to the line. You know what I mean? So even if we are like driving to the basket and they kind of make a swipe at us, they're really not going to swipe at us. They're kind of just going to like show like a little fake. The defender's just going to show a little fake towards the driver, but they're not going to fully contest the attack to the basket because they're in foul trouble. They're afraid to send us to the line. So what we need to do in those kind of plays and in those situations is just drive it hard to the basket and try to get to the line. If not, we're at least going to be able to get a layup or a dunk because they're too afraid to play physical defense when they're in foul trouble. So, hopefully we get better looks in the future in crunch time when that happens. But we definitely don't want to be shooting, a contested deep 3-point shot in moments like those. Moving on to the game against the Utah Jazz, we finally got a win against that team this season. Thank God. That team was really killing us all season long, and for us to come out with the victory against them on the road after a huge weekend back in San Antonio before that was incredible. Devin Vassell masterclass that night. He ends the contest with 31 points. So the team overall had a really good night that night. We ended up shooting better percentages from the field and the 3-point line than the Utah Jazz did. So obviously big contribution there. The games that we're going to outshoot the opponent are obviously the higher percentage ones that we're going to win, and it's something that we haven't done too often all season long. So for us to come out and do that and for us fans to witness that from our team was just a huge sign of relief and excitement for us. That game, just, a close one, Spurs winning 118-111. Absolutely had the Spurs fans, on their feet all night for that competition as well. And it's just really, really good to see the guys be competitive. Again, Devin Vassell having the best night that night, but still major contributions from, from our other star players in Wembanyama, of course, and Jeremy Sohan having a great game. And actually, the one who, I do remember this, the one who surprised us the most that night was Julian Champagny, who 17 points that night, finally shooting 3 for 6 from the 3 point line. And we hadn't really seen him shoot that well all season long, something that we expected in the beginning of the season but just never ended up coming through. So he had a really great game that night. He was for sure another standout alongside Devin, and it was good to see us take advantage of a game where, yeah, we're gonna get really good contribution from the role players, and especially role players that have been struggling all season long. It's good to get the wins where we can when they have good games. It was a big surprise seeing us get back-to-back wins during that time. And another big contributor to that was just the fact that we've been playing actually really good defense. We were playing good defense in that back-to-back wins against Phoenix and Utah, holding the opponents to under 115 points, especially with star power like Phoenix has. That was actually really good. And to keep Colin Sexton and Lauri Markkanen contained throughout the game to pull out that win, great job. And this is the point to where we're seeing the just better contribution from the role players. We were seeing just the start of some good defense, something we hadn't really seen too much again, all season long. We haven't really seen many good things all season long. So, but right now, towards the end of the season, this is where we started to see again good role play, good defense, good team defense, and the guys, limiting turnovers. Of course, there's been careless turnovers, especially at crucial points. During the back-to-back wins, but still they were limited, and it was good to see us take care of the ball and to make smart decisions in crunch time to hold on to these wins. Moving on to the win against the New York Knicks, Spurs 130, Knicks 126. This one was the third of our, three in a row, and out of the three, I would say that this one probably was the most impressive. Even after beating Phoenix, the 2 nights after we just got our butts whooped by them by like 30 points, I would still think that this win over the Knicks was probably the most impressive of the three. Talking to other Spurs fans in Spurs Spaces on Twitter, we didn't really feel that hopeful against on this game against New York. And for us to really just fight to play better than what we expected was incredible. And it was just a great job. Again, the team was playing good defense that night. And I know Jalen Brunson ended the night with 61 points, but besides him, we were able to contain the rest of the team. And I will say, when a guy's taking over like that, Jalen Brunson, when he's taking over like that and he's hot, I would like to see us throw a different defense on him. We weren't double teaming, and I know, we can't really double team right now because our guys just aren't good enough to make those defensive covers and switches. But and we're not really able to kind of guard one-on-one when we're double teaming. So that's probably why we didn't do that. But I would like us to take a different approach and not necessarily let one guy kill us. I'm glad that it worked out in our favor, that we were able to contain the rest of the team. And in a sense, I guess you could say the strategy of not double teaming him worked, because every time, most of the time when the ball was coming out of Jalen Brunson's hands and, his teammates were shooting it, they were missing because they weren't finding their rhythm. It was really just mainly all about him that night. So the other guys weren't able to get in rhythm, and I think that's why we were able to contain them. So, but again, if that happens again and the guy's just taking over, maybe earlier in the game, obviously, let's go ahead and throw a double team at him, and let's see if we can just cool him off a little bit. But damn, that was a great game by everybody, really. And then obviously, even though Jalen Brunson scored 61 points, gotta say, us Spurs fans, we all know that Wemby 40 points and 20 rebounds. Wow. Like, we are witnessing something incredible, and just something that rookies just don't come out and do. So for us to have that type of player on the Spurs, like, a lot of exciting things to look forward to. And really, again, the focus, for the remainder of this season and for the majority of the season, I know it's been extremely frustrating with the losses, and the other guys not just playing as expected. I know it's been rough, but really, like, there have been exciting things, and especially just watching Wembanyama play, like watching this guy make history, knowing that he's a Spur. He's gonna be a Spur for a while, and I know that we will get this team right before a situation ever comes to where he has to consider leaving San Antonio because we're not winning. I don't think that'll happen. So right now, yeah, we're really just enjoying what we're witnessing, this incredible historic play. And I gotta say, like, it's absolutely made the season somewhat worth it. And I feel like in 5-10 years we're gonna look back at the season and just be like, wow, with the team playing so bad, for Wembanyama to put up these historic numbers during this time has been awesome. And I think it's just been a sign of his mental strength, and just the fact that he never let this losing be contagious to him. He never let it wear him down. He never let it just kind of like affect his game. He was always rising up to the challenges all season long, and really just never had a bad attitude about it. Yeah, he's been frustrated with it, but in a good way. He's used that as motivation, and it's just a sign of just a strong mentality, something that we as Spurs fans have been waiting to finally get another player that has a strong mentality, a champion's mentality, a winner's mentality. And I think that this losing right now is just allowing Wembanyama to grow, just individually and as a player, in ways that we and him never thought like he may have needed. And I think when it's all said and done, he will reflect back on this, and he will probably make comments and just say, 10 years, 15 years from now, or at the end of his career, will be like, yeah, it was just that first season that really taught me the most of what I needed to learn. It's what made me the toughest mentally. And after he's won many titles, he'll probably credit this season to being the reason why he worked harder, why he pushed himself more in the gym, more in the off season, why he just went after all these accolades, and it'll just be something that we look back on it and just laugh about. But getting back to that win against the Knicks, like, wow. Again, the this was another game where the team effort was there. Team defense was there. Energy, the focus, the lack of careless turnovers. Um, they were again, the turnovers were still there. The careless ones were still there, but it's minimizing that, and that's what we did. We minimized those simple mistakes, which is what helped us come out with the win. I think that's another game. Let's take a look. Another game where we shot better than the opponent, which is something, again, we have not seen and something that we're not used to this season. So good that we took advantage of that stat and, came out with the W, shooting better than the opponent, which is, going to happen most often, and which it should, So I know, yeah, you could say like, yeah, well, these guys should be winning. These guys should be hitting more shots, and we're absolutely right. They should be, but let's go ahead and credit them when they actually do what they're supposed to do. So good job, San Antonio Spurs. I thought it was hilarious when Wemby tossed the ball into the stands, and honestly, if I was the fan that caught that, I think that I'm running out of the building as fast as I can. Like, I am just, as soon as I catch it, I'm just like out of here. Like, as if I was catching it like on the run. That's how like out of here I am. Um, I just can't believe that the New York Knicks ball boy, I mean, he's the one that jetted up the stands to get the ball from the fan. And again, I'm not sticking around long enough for that. And I'm sure as heck not giving it to the New York Knicks ball boy. No, if anybody's gonna take it from me, it's gonna be somebody from the San Antonio Spurs staff, and if not them, then security at the Frostbank Center. And I'm telling security, like, hey, you could take the ball, but make sure that Wemby gets this ball. Okay, make sure that this goes to the Spurs locker room. And I don't want to see any New York Knicks people touching this ball or getting it. Like, I don't care if it's Brunson's 61-point career ball. No. This is Wembanyama's like career 40-point, 20 rebound ball as a rookie. And no, this is the Frostbank Center. We're in San Antonio at home, and we're going to give this ball to our superstar. And I thought it was funny too, like they fined him the $25,000, and he said he wasn't gonna pay it and kind of laughed it off. Well, somebody else was gonna pay it, and then laughed it off. But yeah, like if we're at the Frostbank Center, man, we're just gonna let Wemby do whatever we want. I know us fans don't care, and we're gonna preach all day that like, yeah, at the Frostbank Center, Wembanyama can do whatever the heck he wants. We don't care. He could throw out all these F-bombs. He could toss all these balls into the stands, whatever. Like, take off his jersey, throw it in the stands. We're all for it. Like, that's what we love. We want to see it. We're really enjoying like I wouldn't say like antics, but like the behavior, like the fun, natural behavior that Wemby's been showing, after the games. It just love that it's just so natural. And he's still getting accustomed to like our custom here in the States and like what he can and can't do. Just really hilarious. And as a fan, that's just like another like bonus that we've gotten out of this season. So hopefully that continues. Yeah, I mean, really, like, I really think that should continue because it's just a part of like who he is, and it makes our culture like fun, right? Like, who doesn't love that? Okay, moving on to the start of the back-to-back losing streak again. Back to the losing ways. Let's go with the start of the Warriors Spurs game. Spurs losing that one 117-113. We were in attendance that night for that game. And like I said before, the atmosphere in that game was on Easter, so the atmosphere of that game was just incredible. It felt great. The Spurs fan energy was there. We were really excited about this one coming off of a 3-game win streak. We all truly thought we had a great chance to win this game. And actually, this was this was the day I think that we heard the news that Devin and Jeremy were going to be out for the rest of the season. Let's take a look. Vassell didn't. Yeah, Vassell was out too that game. So yeah, this was the start of the heartbreaking news that we received as Spurs fans. Jeremy Sohan needing surgery, and Devin Vassell just going to be shut down for the remainder of the season, both due to foot injuries, which was a huge blow. And terrible news for us fans on Easter, like horrible, but well wishes to our boys, wishing you guys a speedy recovery. Appreciate, the hard work that you guys put into the season, and guys, just keep your heads up, put in the work this off season, just come back motivated next season. Use this season as that motivation. Sometimes we got to go through the darkest times to reach the best of our time. So let's try to approach it that way. And yeah, all of us Spurs fans just wishing y'all speedy recovery. And of course, we will be keeping an eye and ear out for you guys this off season. So until then, it's Go Spurs Go, and we're gonna support the rest of the team with you guys from the bench. But we were there in attendance. Warriors game, awesome. The crowd was just really into it, and again, I gotta say, I hate how many Warriors fans show out. Like it was almost like a home game for them as well. But nonetheless, it was still a game that we could have won. And I think that's kind of like what bothers me a little bit more, is just the fact that like we're shorthanded and yet we still almost won. And honestly, we should have won. That's a game that we actually lost ourselves. You know what I mean? Like we were in control of that game. We should have won it, and we lost it. It wasn't one of those where we're making a comeback towards the end and we possibly could have won. Like, no, it was one we should have won, even shorthanded with the cast that we have. And I think that's what bothers me the most. But besides that fact, do have to say the team, again, was another game that the team played well in. The team defense was there, holding the opponent to only 117 points, and with their star power, of course. Wemby actually, yeah, another amazing night from Wemby with 32 points, 9 rebounds, and wish you would have got that double-double, that's for sure. The supporting cast, again, playing well. The one who impressed me the most, and I did a poll on Twitter, who also impressed the Spurs fans the most, was Mamu that night, who had his first double-double this season. And I don't know if that's his first of his career, but it was his first double-double of the season. I don't know if we're going to see that again this year, but 10 points and 11 rebounds, and he actually had the 10 rebounds before he had the 10 points. So he played really well that game, and just played very high Q basketball. You could see he is very smart, and he uses his body well. When he's undersized, he knows how to get to his spots before his opponent. And on the rebounds, if he's undersized, he knows. He can read kind of where the ball is going to bounce off of. You could see this, and he beats the opponent to the spot to get the rebound. If he has this advantage with his size on his opponent, he's very smart. Tries to back down his opponent in the paint, and he just really knows how to box out and use his body in a smart way. Let's hear a word from our young fan base that was also in attendance for the Warriors game with us. Hey, Spurs fans, we're back in section 125 with our dedicated fan, Raul. Raul, welcome to GSG Nation. How are you feeling about tonight's game?
It's close. We can win. Like if they bring out Wembenyama, the defense is gonna be a lot better. They'll stop hitting their shots, and we can win.
Yeah, how do you feel Wemby's playing tonight?
Um, he was great in the first quarter. Like in the first couple of minutes, with like 2 steals and 2 blocks in the first 5 minutes. Um, I haven't really seen anything like that much special from him throughout the game.
Tonight, right? Yeah, it's been a little bit slow night, but his presence has been like everywhere. So you would say like he's helping out on the defensive end, right? Since the Spurs have been on a winning week, which player has impressed you during these wins?
Um, uh, if Jeremy Sohan didn't get injured,
Yeah.
like last game, I feel like it'd be it'd be much more impressive to see him. Like he's been doing good throughout the past couple of games.
Yeah, I agree. We're kind of missing him tonight, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think about Devin Vassell? How do you been liking his play this season?
He's a great guard, and he's always trying to find passes, especially to Wembenyama.
And would you say you would like to keep him alongside Wemby for the future?
If we have to trade him, I'm okay with trading him. As long as we keep him or Trey Jones. That's
okay. So that's who you want to keep: Wemby and Trey, or Devin and Trey Jones.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice, awesome, man. So what other pieces do you think that we're missing from this team?
A better guard who's willing to make more passes to Wembenyama, someone like Trey Young.
Somebody like Trey Young. So you would be excited to get him on the team?
Yes.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for being on today's episode. Before we go, can I get a Go Spurs Go?
Go Spurs, go.
Thanks, Raul, for being on the show. Let's go over the Spurs loss against the Denver Nuggets, 110-105. But damn, are we proud of our boys for that game. Again, we are shorthanded, no Vassell, no Sohan. We are taking on the defending NBA champions. They are without Jamal Murray. Of course, that's a huge blow for them. However, still, they are a great team even without him. And for our guys to just go out there and play some good competitive basketball, I think that is something that us as Spurs fans can all be happy with and live with. That's something that we can support and get behind, and just give credit for the guys doing what we expect them to do, which is compete. It was a really great game from everybody. And of course, like again, another game, another night where we're just seeing Wembenyama make history and just play crazy, unseen basketball before, just highlights all night. And being able to block Joker 4 times in one game is incredible. There's nobody out there that can block Jokic 4 times in one game. There's nobody out there doing it right now. And even Joker was surprised about it, like, and made a joke about it after the game. Just, saying, like, if you block me one more time, I'm going to. And then he blocked me 3 more times, and I didn't do anything about it. And yeah, I mean, even he was just surprised, like, what the heck's going on here? Like, I'm supposed to be the biggest dude out on the court, and this guy's over here, blocking me 4 times. And I would say probably my favorite play of that game was the sequence of, let me see what happened. If I remember correctly, it was in the first quarter, actually. So Wemby does a spin left-handed scoop on Jokic and makes it. then runs down to the other end of the court uh, to play defense on Jokic. They give it to Jokic down low in the post. He makes his post move, and Wemby just stuffs it right back at him. Just that sequence was definitely my favorite of the night. And Wemby ends the night with 8 blocks, and again, like 4 on Jokic. Like, nobody does that, man. Like, what are we witnessing here? This is incredible stuff. Nothing to be but to be excited about as a Spurs fan for the future. Like, this is awesome. And the team just playing really, really well and competing against an again, like, probably the team that's gonna repeat as champions. Um, so just really impressed, really proud as a Spurs fan of what we witnessed last night. Good job, guys. I mean, they're really. I know we didn't get the win, but at least the supporting cast is showing us competitive basketball in the end, and we played really good defense that night again, holding them to only 110 points. Like, that's good defense nowadays in the NBA. So it was this whole week and a half has been a stretch of just the Spurs playing good D, playing better basketball than what we witnessed all season long, and just being competitive in all of these games. Since the Phoenix blowout, we have been approaching these games differently, and these 2 games that we lost without Jeremy Devin, they could have been way worse losses, and the team morale could have just been just out the door, out the window. Everybody's head could be down, and that hasn't been the case. Like, guys have just been showing up, they've been playing hard, not timid, and that I can accept. We don't have the talent to win a lot of these games and beat these great good teams this year. But what they can always do is they can always come out with 100% effort, heads up, uh, with focus, with energy, not being timid, playing physical, and that's what we are witnessing. We're gonna get the wins in some of them, and then some of them we're just gonna be competitive all game and still come out with the L. But again, I can accept that. I can accept competitiveness, and as long as we're not getting blown out, man, I can enjoy that. And I sure as hell can enjoy these Wimby highlights night in and night out, and for the rest of the season. I hope Spurs do not shut him down. I don't think that they will, because he's finding his rhythm, and there's no need to shut him down. Like, these he's learning lessons from all of these games, and it's obviously he clearly wants to play, and I think the coaching staff wants him to continue to play too. He's playing more and more minutes each game. There are no minute restrictions on him, and as Spurs fans, that's another thing to be excited about. Something to obviously look all this losing. But I do have faith in the front office that we're gonna get this thing right, and I don't think that we're gonna wait too long to start competing. And at the beginning of the season, I was 100% team build through the draft, and let's just do it, draft. But after seeing the growth of some of these players, and I'm a kind of about, like, let's win now. Well, of course, who's not about let's win now, but I mean that as in, like, I think I'm down to win now, and not skip some steps. I think that we can find a way to do that, and it doesn't have to only be through the draft. So um I think that's my outlook on it right now, as we're towards the end of the season. And I do believe that the front office will do what they got to do to help put the Spurs back on top again. I'm a believer that it's not hard to find shooters. I think you can find them anywhere, and especially veteran shooters. I don't think that that's hard to get and find. So that I think that we will do, and I think that our main focus really is just we need a point guard and we need another big to help. And once we get those two pieces and then also bring in veterans, um, I think we'll be in a much obviously better place than we are this season. And I think Spurs fans will be, really happy with that. And I'm definitely not an advocate of let's run it back with the same group of guys. But I will admit there are guys on the team now that have, especially towards the end of the season, this past week and a half, that have shown me things that I didn't think that they were capable of doing. And I'm actually happy with that. Like, for instance, like Malachi Branham, like I wasn't a believer in the beginning of the season, and once the season started and we're in the first third of the season, and he's not really performing that well, like I was a huge doubter. But now um towards the end of the season, I don't know what happened, but I feel like he's turning it around and he's actually playing like pretty good basketball, much better basketball than what we've seen before. And I feel like, okay, maybe he can find his place on this team. He's not going to be a starter, but maybe he could be a really good role player for us. He's also still very young. And what I like right now, what he's been showing lately is just he's been aggressive. He's been attacking the basket. Um, and he's also been hitting his threes. He wasn't hitting them before in the beginning, but now he's actually hitting them. So I think he's found like a rhythm with his shot. And, he's making smarter plays with the ball. And I'm impressed with that. For the rest of the season, I really just want the team to keep up the good habits that they've built over the past week and a half. I want them to just continue to be competitive throughout the rest of these games. Limit those careless turnovers. Make smart plays in crunch time. Take care of the ball. What we really need to work on is just our the plays that we're running on last possessions and how we're running them. So we either need to change the plays that we're running, or we need to be able to execute them better. Because I'm pretty sure they're not bad plays that we're calling. I'm just not seeing the execution. And when we're taking like deep contested threes as our last possession to win or tie the game, we don't have anybody on our team at that level yet to be, for that to be our go-to. Like, we can absolutely get better looks than that. So that's something that I want to see us do better the rest, in the remainder of these games, if those opportunities arise. But I want us to keep up that good defense. That's something that we can keep up. The energy, the intensity that we play with is something that I want to see going forward. That's it for today's episode, Spurs fans. Be sure to keep up with GSG Nation on X at GSG Nation Talk, on Instagram and TikTok at GSG Nation, and GSG Nation on YouTube. And as always, go Spurs, go!